Hare Krishna, Prabhu, you're on mute. I cannot hear.
Prabhuji, we cannot hear you.
We cannot hear you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, you are on mute. Prabhuji, you are on mute. We cannot hear you. Prabhuji, you are in mute. We cannot hear you.
I think Prabhuji is not able to hear us also.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Prabhu, we were not able to hear you earlier. Now we are able to hear you.
Acha. I think it got connected to my wife's AirPods.
Maybe, yeah.
We have the same Apple ID. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let's recite the beautiful verses of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Module 1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadasya yatonvayaditarata shartesha bhigyaswarat tene brahmaridaya adi kavaye muhyanti yatsurayah tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam Satyam param dhimahi dharmah projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayonmulanam Śrīmad Bhāgavate Mahamuni Krite Kim va parairishvaraha Sadyoridhyavaruddhate trakritibihi Shrushubhistat kshanat Nigama kalpatarorgalitam phalam Shukamukhadamrita drava samyutam Pibata Bhagavatam rasamalayam Muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahaitukya pratihata yayatma suprasidati Vadanti tattva vidas Tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate atah pumbir dvija shrestha varnashrama vibhagashah swanu shitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam ete chamshakalah pumsah krishnastu bhagwan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam ridayanti yuge yuge Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo yasmin pratishlokamabhattavatyapi namananantasya yashonkitani yat shrunvanti gayanti grananti sadhavah yasyam vaishruyamanayam krishne paramapurushe bhaktir utpadyate pumsah shokamoha bhayapaha Atma Ramascha Munayo Nirgrantha Purukrame Kurvantya Hetu Kim Bhaktim Itham Bhuta Guno Harihi Tvai Menananya Vishaya Matir Madhupate Sakre Dratim Udvahata Dadha Gange Vaugham Udanvati Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to the Bhakti Vaibhava course. We are continuing our study of Granthara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, entitled The Passing Away of Shri Bhishma Dev. And we are going to study from verse number 13 onwards today. Hare Krishna. When the 5 Pandava brothers, along with their dear friend, well-wisher, and guide, Shri Krishna, came back to the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Shri Bhishma Dev, the great Mahajan, was preparing to leave his body, Bhishma Dev started speaking to Maharaj Yudhishthir and his brothers. Bhishma Dev is saying, Samsthite tirathe pandau pritha bala prajavaduhu yashmat krite bahun kleshan prapta to kavati muhuhu. Translations and purports by our most beloved founder Acharya, our revered spiritual grandfather, Nitya Lila Pravishta, Om Vishnupad, Paramhamsa, Parivrajaka Ashtottara Shata, Śrīmad, Abhay Charana Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation to text 13. Shri Bhishma Dev is saying, as far as my daughter-in-law, Srimati Kunti Devi is concerned, upon the great General Pandu's death, she became a widow with many children. And therefore, she suffered greatly. And when you were grown up, she suffered a great deal also because of your actions. So Kunti Devi suffered because she had to live the life of a widow with 5 small children. And then when the Pandavas grew up, there were repeated attempts to murder them, to assassinate them by Duryodhana and his brothers. So therefore, they went through a lot of difficulty. And as a result of which, their mother Kunti Devi was very much aggrieved. In the last sentence of the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, this means that Kunti Devi was destined to suffer by providence. And this one has to tolerate without being disturbed. Hare Krishna. There are certain things that are beyond our control. Kunti Maharani did not ask for these troubles, nor did she do anything that caused these troubles and sufferings and calamities in her life, but they just came naturally. When that happens, we should understand that it is our destiny and we should tolerate it. For example, someone just getting a cancer. What to do? Who are we to blame? Who are we to blame? Of course, if someone is a smoker and then gets a lung cancer, that's a different story. But generally speaking, what do we do? It's just our destiny. It is approved by Krishna.
We are not able to hear you, Prabhu. No.
Yeah, now it is back.
I'm hearing.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Now we can hear.
We can hear.
Okay. Yeah. So we have to understand what is prarabdha, even though it is difficult to understand. And we have to tolerate it. Pushta Krishna Prabhu, a Prabhupada disciple, was narrating a story that he was once traveling on the flight with Srila Prabhupada. In those days, on the flight, smoking was allowed, but it was to be done only in designated seats. Some seats were assigned as smoking seats, and you have to sit there and smoke. The rest of the flight was non-smoking. This is 1970s. And naturally, Srila Prabhupada's disciples had booked Srila Prabhupada in a non-smoking zone. But even people in the non-smoking zone were smoking cigarettes, unfortunately. And naturally, Srila Prabhupada was not liking it because they are exposed to so much second-hand smoke. And Pushta Krishna Prabhu, Prabhupada's disciple and servant who was traveling with Srila Prabhupada, he also did not appreciate this nonsense that in the non-smoking zone, you're smoking cigarettes. So he was complaining, he was telling them that please quit smoking. He was complaining to the air hostess that these people are smoking, please tell them. And somehow there were so many people in the non-smoking zone who were smoking because everybody wanted to smoke and the smoking seats were limited. So they were not listening. And there was kind of an argument between them. And Pushta Krishna Prabhu was getting agitated. So even though Pushta Krishna Prabhu was correct, Srila Prabhupada tapped him on his shoulder and told him, it's okay. You complained, you lodged a complaint to the people who are smoking, to the air hostess. Now just leave it. What to do? We have to tolerate. What kind of a sannyasi are you? Because sannyasi Pushta Krishna Maharaj. What kind of a sannyasi are you if you cannot tolerate people smoking around you? Said they are not supposed to smoke. It says no smoking. You complained, but still they are smoking. What to do? Just tolerate it now. So Srila Prabhupada is teaching us the value of taror iva sahishnu. We have to tolerate. And sometimes we have to practice tolerance. When situations come in life, we should take it as an opportunity to practice tolerance. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying, that Kunti Maharani, these things were beyond her control. The death of her husband, beyond her control. Her sons being victimized by Duryodhana and the gang. Kunti Maharani, she's helpless. So when things like that happen, we have to simply accept it as destiny. And we have to increase our tolerance. It's like being in a quicksand. The more you beat your hands, legs, and try to escape, the deeper you will sink. If you just spread your hands and legs and remain still, your buoyancy, your ability to come up in the quicksand will increase. So it's like that. When difficulties come in life, we have to understand that ultimately these difficulties are being given to us by our beloved Krishna. And we must have full faith that instead of an arm being cut off, we are simply getting a mosquito bite. Krishna reduces the sufferings of his devotees to minimum, just to keep us from becoming complacent in this world. Some suffering is necessary for us, so we should accept it as destiny and do the best we can to live a life of devotion, Krishna consciousness, and integrity during those calamities. That is the meaning of Tattenu Kampam Susamikshamana. Verse number 14. Sarvam kala kritam manye bhavatam chayad apriyam sapalo yad vashe loko vayor iva ghanavalihi. Shri Bhishma Dev is saying to Maharaj Yudhishthira, in my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time. Kala kritam. Kala kritam. It is done by kal, time, inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just like clouds are carried by the wind. Vayor iva ghanavali. Ghanavali, the row of clouds, is carried by Vayu. Clouds are moving under the influence of the wind. Similarly, all the people of all the planets in the universe are under the control of Kal, the time factor. Purport. The first sentence, Srila Prabhupada says, there is control by time all over the space within the universe. This entire material world is under the purview of Kal. Remember, when creation takes place, there is the Pradhan, the material substance, and it activates when Mahavishnu, through his glance, impregnates it with three three energies. One is the Jiva Tattva, second is Kal, and third is Gunas, the three modes of material nature. Then it becomes Mahat Tattva. It's set into motion. And then creation takes place. Because in that Mahat Tattva, from Mahavishnu comes Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Garbhodakshay Vishnu lies down in a Brahmanda and then gives birth to Lord Brahmaji, who uses all these ingredients of the Mahat Tattva and performs secondary creation called Visarga. Primary creation is done by Mahavishnu. That is called Sarga. Atra Sarga Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Uttaya Manvantareshanu Katha Nirodho Muktir Ashraya. Further down in the purport, Srila Prabhupada ji writes, everything, therefore, is controlled by the supreme Kal. What is Kal? Time. A forceful representative of Lord Krishna within the material world. This Kal is not there in the spiritual world, only in the material world. So it is a representation of the power of Krishna. Time, Kal, represents the power of Krishna. Yudhishthir should not think that he had committed sins in his previous birth and is suffering the consequence. Because that is a fact. Yudhishthir Maharaj is an associate of Krishna. He is not an ordinary conditioned soul like us. Even the most pious person has to suffer the condition of material nature. This is also a fact, my dear friends. Why do bad things happen to apparently good people? Because bad things happen to everyone. No one is exempt. Even Srila Prabhupada got heart attack and stroke. Even Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur suffered from ill health. Even Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur suffered from so many health problems. Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj went materially blind because of cataracts in both his eyes. He could not see. Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj almost had something like myasthenia gravis. He could not even open his eyelids. Someone had to lift up his eyelids. So many things happen. Even to the purest of devotees. Because that is the nature of this world. If someone is in the ocean swimming, that person is going to get wet. A good swimmer gets wet, and someone who doesn't know how to swim also gets wet. Everybody in the ocean will get wet because it is the nature of ocean to make you wet. Similarly, whether you are a pure devotee or you are an atheist, everyone will suffer in this material world. It is the nature of this world. It is Dukhalaya. It is not Sukhalaya. It is Dukhalaya. So everybody has to suffer, whether you are a pure devotee or whether you are a rascal. Atheist. Everyone has to suffer. That is just the way this world is created by Krishna. It is the nature. It is the dharma of this material world, and to cause dukkha to the living entities. But a pious man is faithful to Krishna, for he is guided by the bona fide Brahmanas and Vaishnavas who follow the religious principles. Even the last sentence, even the great controller of the universe, Brahmaji, is also under the control of that time factor, Kal. Therefore, one should not grudge being thus controlled by Kal, time, despite being a true follower of religious principles. My dear friends, I request all of you to pay attention to this sentence. It is a very, very important sentence, the last sentence of this purport. Purport to verse 14. Srila Prabhupada ji is writing, even the great controller of the universe, Brahmaji, is also under the control of time. Brahmaji also has a fixed lifespan. He is going to die. Therefore, one should not grudge being thus controlled by time, despite being a true follower of religious principles. So we may not have committed any sin. We may be very religious. We may have very dharmic acharan, but still we will suffer. Still things will go wrong. Even if we are doing yogasana, pranayam, eating the healthiest organic food, we have the most regulated diet, still we will get old and we will die. Even Patanjali, who gave also all this yogasanas and everything, he also died, became old and died. Even Chavan Rishi, who gave us Chavan Prash, died, became old and died. Everyone has to janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. It is just the nature of this world. We have to understand that these faults, janma mrityu jara vyadhi, they are going to affect everyone. Srila Prabhupada is saying one should not grudge. One should not grudge. One should not say, why this is happening to me? Kya kiya yaar maine? Kya kiya? Kyun ho raha hai? Why this is happening to me? No, that question itself is wrong. Everyone suffers in this world. We don't know what sins we have committed in the previous lifetime. Even in this lifetime, we don't remember what sins we have committed. So many people we might have insulted, we might have performed so many sins, we don't even remember them now. What we did 15 years ago, 16. Do we remember every day we are sinning, isn't it? Some sin happens every day, practically. Do we remember what we did 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago? No. So how can we say, why? Why this is happening? Why is Krishna doing this to me? No. Prabhupada says, don't grudge being controlled by time. Text 15. Yatra dharma suto raja gadāpanir vrikodara krishnostri gandivam chapam surit krishnas tato vipat. This is a very beautiful verse. Very, very beautiful verse. Translation. Bhishma Dev is saying, oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reversals in the presence of King Yudhishthir, who is the son of the demigod controlling religion? His Dharma Suta, Yudhishthir Maharaj. Bhim Vrikodhara, who is Gadapani. In his hand, he holds the powerful Gada. Bhim is there, the most powerful man. And then there is Gandhivdhari, Gandivam, Chapam, Krishna Astri. Krishna Astri. One of the 10 names of Arjuna is Krishna. He was called Krishna because he had a dark complexion and he was always chanting Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So Arjuna was called Krishna and Draupadi, his wife, was called Krishna because they were devotees of Krishna. So here Arjuna is called Krishna. It's one of his 10 names. And he is the holder of the Gandiv bow. Very powerful. And above all, Krishna, Suhrit Krishna. Krishna is Sarvabhuta, his Suhrit Sarvabhutana. And specifically his Suhrit, he is a friend of the Pandavas. So Krishna himself is there, who is a direct well-wisher of the Pandavas. Still there were reversals. Still there were calamities. They were poisoned. They were attacked. They were banished in the forest. They almost got killed so many times. Purport. Second sentence. Srila Prabhupada ji says, materially the Pandavas were well equipped because two great warriors, namely Bhim and Arjun, were there. Spiritually, the king himself was a symbol of dharma, religion. And above all of them, the personality of God, Lord Shri Krishna, was personally concerned with their affairs as a well-wisher. Srila Prabhupada is analyzing from three levels. Materially, they had all the power and talent because Arjun was there and Bhim was there, the greatest warriors. So materially, they had nothing to fear. Spiritually, no problem because Krishna was their well-wisher. Krishna was always on their side. And what about from the point of view of dharma? Yudhishthir Maharaj is Dharmaraj Suta. He is the religion personified, son of the god of religion. And therefore, materially, from the point of view of dharma and from the point of view of spiritual side, the Pandavas were very well situated. But still they suffered again and again and again. And this is very, very bewildering. How can this happen? How can this happen? This is the question that Bhishma Dev is asking. That how is it possible? How can you explain this? except by saying that this is all the desire of Krishna. Kal means Krishna. Prabhupada is going to explain in this purport. Under the direct supervision of Lord Krishna, the Pandavas suffered so many practical reversals, which can only be explained as due to the influence of Kal, inevitable time. Kal is identical with Lord himself, and therefore the influence of Kal indicates the inexplicable wish of Lord Krishna himself. When things happen under the influence of Kal, we should understand that this is the desire of Krishna. Unless Krishna sanctions, no one can do anything to us, my dear friends. Kona kahu ke dukha sukha kardata, nijakrit karma bhoga sunbrata. It is the influence of inevitable Kal, time, and Srila Prabhupada writes, Kal is identical with Lord Krishna himself. And therefore, the influence of Kal, time, indicates the inexplicable wish of Lord Krishna himself. Now, why Lord Krishna is wishing some suffering upon the devotee, that we don't know. There is definitely Mangal. There is definitely auspiciousness behind that. 100%. 100%. You take any suffering of any devotee in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, something good came out of it. Always. So no doubt that there is some Mangal, something auspicious that will come out. But when a devotee goes through sufferings, it appears, why is this happening? It is inexplicable. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, the influence of Kal or influence of inevitable time indicates the inexplicable wish of Lord Krishna himself. There is nothing to be lamented when a matter is beyond the control of any human being. Hare Krishna. I'm going to read this sentence again. Last sentence of purport. These are the perfect words of Srila Prabhupada. There is nothing to be lamented when a matter is beyond the control of any living being, human being. There are things that are beyond our control. We should not lament for those things. 16. It is difficult, my dear. It's easy to sit here in an air-conditioned room after a nice meal and a nice cold shower sitting in front of you and pravachan. It's easy for me to say. But when we go through situations, it is very difficult. It is very difficult. But because it is difficult, the Siddhanta doesn't change. And what is the Siddhanta? Tam stitikshasva bharat. Siddhanta doesn't change. Yeah, it may be difficult. But nothing good is easy in this world, my dear friends. Nothing good is easy in this world. You take anything that is worthy, anything that is good, it will be difficult. The nature of this world is, it is easy to forget Krishna. It is easy to follow adharma. It doesn't take anything to follow adharma. By default, our default programming is to be adharmic. Anything, you want to climb up a mountain, it is difficult to climb up against gravity. You are swimming in a river, it is easy to go downstream, very difficult to go upstream. To go up is difficult. Urdhvam gacchanti sattvastha. It's difficult to be sattvic, difficult to be dharmic, difficult to go up in this world. Very easy to come down. A mountaineer has to do nothing to fall down. Just let go and gravity will do the rest. But very difficult to climb against gravity. You have to use all your power. You have to be careful. You have to be alert. You have to measure every step. Very difficult for a rock climber to climb up. Very easy to fall down. Similarly, very difficult to make spiritual progress, my dear friends, and very easy to fall down. That is just the nature of this world. But that doesn't mean, just because it is difficult, doesn't mean that the Siddhanta changes. The fact changes. The Tattva changes. No. We have to accept the Siddhanta as it is, and we have to align our life to the Siddhanta, not vice versa. Siddhanta is not going to change for our sake. Oh, it is so difficult to chant 16 rounds. So let's just reduce it. No. Srila Prabhupada said no less than 16. Very difficult to avoid onion garlic. Chalta hai. It says less than 2% onion garlic on this package. Let me eat this potato chips. No. Siddhanta doesn't change. I remember one devotee, he was a student when he came to America, and he used to buy frozen pizzas from the stores, markets. And they have the tomato sauce, ketchup on it, and the ingredients, there is onion garlic in it. But it says, contains tomato, this, that, and less than 2% of salt, this, blah, 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 onion, garlic, and like that. So he used to say, it's less than 2%, yeah, chalta hai. What to do? Oh, I mean, you cannot twist Prabhupada's hand and say ki onion garlic chalta hai. Nahi chalta. You can say what you want, but the Siddhanta doesn't change. The principles don't change. If you eat that, it is going to affect your consciousness. 100%. 100%. You put your hand in fire, you are going to get burnt. So yes, it is easy for me to say, tolerate. Don't lament for what is inevitable. It is influence of Kal. It is approved by Krishna. It is Krishna's will. We have to surrender to Krishna. Very easy to say this. Very difficult to practice it when we go through situations. Very difficult. But because it is difficult, the Siddhanta doesn't change. We still have to speak Siddhanta, and we still have to live our life based on Siddhanta. And we have to align ourselves to the Siddhanta. And Siddhanta is there in Srila Prabhupada's purports. That's what we are reading. There is nothing to be lamented when a matter is beyond the control of any human being. This is deep, my dear friends. This is very deep. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is very deep. So we have to read these instructions in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and try to internalize them. That is the purpose. We are not here to do some course. Phada phat, udao verses. Hey, this is like this is happening, this happened. We are going to drown in the ocean of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. We are going to drown in Srila Prabhupada's purports, and we are going to drink the nectar, because this is not salt water. This is Amrit. This is Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. We want to drown in it. We want to contemplate on these purports of Srila Prabhupada. We want to contemplate on the verses. We want to identify with these characters, how Bhishma Dev is lying on the Ban Shayya, on the bed of arrows, how he's having so much pain and he's speaking. He's empathizing with Yudhishthira Maharaj. Think about it, my friends. He is himself lying on a bed of arrows with so much pain, but he's bothered about Yudhishthira Maharaj's pain. Just see. In the hospital, we ask patients, how bad is your pain on a scale of 0 to 10? 0 being no pain at all, 10 being the worst pain you can ever imagine. So it's like someone who's having 10 on 10 pain is worried about and concerned about someone who is having 1 on 10 pain on the pain scale. Yudhishthira Maharaj's pain is much less than Bhishma Dev's pain. Bhishma Dev has so much pain, physical and emotional. Physical because of the arrows. Every part of his body is pierced, not with some insulin needle, 30 gauge, small little fine. No. These are arrows shot by Gandhivdhari Arjuna. Very powerful. And emotional pain because he had to fight against Krishna. He had to fight against the Pandavas. He had to stand side by side, shoulder to shoulder with the wicked Duryodhana and Dushasan, who had assaulted Draupadi. This was the pain in the heart of Bhishma Dev. But despite that, he's thinking about the pain of Yudhishthira Maharaj. How amazing. He's thinking about the pain of Kunti Devi. How great is that? How great. What kind of empathy is this? What level of empathy is this? When we are in distress, we don't care about others. Chodo, pehle mere ghar mein aag lagi hai. Let me take care of my problems, man. I will think about you later. Bhishma Dev is thinking about Kunti. That also not what she is going through now, what she went through in the past. And he's feeling sorry for it. While he is himself bleeding from everywhere. His body is pierced with innumerable arrows. This is extraordinary empathy and compassion. This is amazing. Bhishma Dev ki jai. All glories. What else can we say? Text 16. Nai asya karhichit rajan puman veda vidhisitam yad vijinyasaya yukta muyanti kavayopihi. Shri Bhishma Dev is telling Yudhishthira Maharaj, O king, no one can know the plan of Lord Krishna. Achintya. Krishna is achintya. Mam tu vedana kaschana. Vedaham samatitani vartamani cha Arjuna bhavishyami cha bhutani mam tu vedana kaschana. Me nobody knows, Krishna says. No one knows the plan of Lord Krishna. Same thing Mahajan is saying. Bhishma Dev. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. Mam tu vedana kaschana. Second sentence of the purport, Srila Prabhupada Ji Maharaj says, Bhishma Dev wanted to impress upon Maharaj Yudhishthira that since time immemorial, no one, including such demigods as Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, could ascertain the real plan of the Lord. What is Krishna's plan? Just nobody knows. Why he would just walk away from Kalayavan? Why he would walk away from Jarasandha? Who can understand? Why he would himself not kill Jarasandha? Why he would get Bhimsen to kill? Why he would not fight in the battlefield of Kurukshetra? Why Balramji would not participate in the battle of Kurukshetra? Why he would go on a pilgrimage and then kill Romharshana Suta, a Brahman? Instead of killing Duryodhan, Balramji is going and killing a Brahman there in Naimisharanya. Who can understand the wonderful plan of Krishna and Balram? Achintya gunaswarupam govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Krishna is achintya. You cannot understand. Even Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma are bewildered. Brahmaji is bewildered. Why Krishna is eating jhutan from his friends? Shivji is bewildered. What is going on? What is this beautiful Mohini? He is running after her. Even Shivji, even Brahmaji get bewildered. Muhyanti yatsuraya. First verse of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. The Sura, the demigods, Brahma, Shiva, they also get bewildered when Krishna wants to bewilder them. When Krishna wants to bewilder them. Muhyanti yatsuraya. That is the meaning. It is useless to inquire about it. Just see what Srila Prabhupada is saying. No one, including Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, can ascertain the real plan of Lord Krishna. So what can we understand about it? It is useless also to inquire about it, Srila Prabhupada says. We should not even try to understand what is Krishna's plan. No. We should simply follow his instructions. Even the exhaustive philosophical inquiries of sages cannot ascertain the plan of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada is drilling this Siddhanta. We cannot understand Krishna. Krishna is beyond our understanding. Many times devotees ask questions from Shastra. Yeah, aisa kyun, why this happened, why that happened? And they don't get satisfactory answers. But the real thing is, we cannot understand everything by just swadhyaya and tarka and logic. No, you think Krishna is so simple that our 21st century Kali-yug brain can understand everything about Krishna, every plan, every leela, why Krishna did what? Itne hushar hai, itne intelligent hai. We cannot understand quantum physics, we cannot understand rocket science, and we think we can understand Krishna. No, you have to do bhajan. You have to just chant and surrender to Krishna. We will understand when Krishna reveals. It's a descending process, not ascending process. Srila Prabhupada is saying, even the exhaustive philosophical enquiries of sages, they have very fine intelligence. We are not even sages. Even the sages cannot understand the plan of Lord Krishna. The best policy is simply to abide by the orders of Lord Krishna without argument. Kyun myun nahi? Without argument. We have to accept. Fast on Ekadashi. Okay, we will accept. We don't wear leather. Okay, we will accept. उसमें क्यों हो रहे तुम्हारे मृदंग में भी leather है. Just you follow what Guru and Krishna are saying. Don't get into unnecessary tarka. Otherwise, you will just become a tarkic. Everywhere you will see arguments. Everywhere you will see discrepancy. Everywhere you will see fallacies. Everywhere you will see controversy. Don't become like that. Just accept Krishna. Tadvidhi pranipate. All that kyumyu before pranipat. Once you have done pranipat, you have surrendered to Shri Guru, tadvidhi pranipatena, then pariprashnena sevaya. You ask questions pertaining to bhajan. Ask how I can serve you. Ask how you can do bhajan. Ask how you can get Radha Shyam Sundar. How you can get Radha Krishna. Preman janachurita bhakti vilochayanaya. Santah sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. Yam Shama Sundaram Achinta Guna Swarupam Govindam Ādi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. O Gurudev, you have Tomara Hridaya Sada Govinda Vishram Govinda Kahena Vaishnava Pran. You are in the heart of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, and in your heart Govinda is there. Tomara Hridaya Sada Govinda Vishram. Govinda is always there in your heart. You are always seeing Shyam Sundar with eyes filled with love, anointed with the salve of love. You can see Shyam Sundar at all times with love. Can you give me that vision, please, Gurudev? Can you give me? That is the question. And we do seva. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. O tattvadarshi Guru, please give me that. So here Srila Prabhupada is very clear. The best policy is simply to abide by the orders of Lord Krishna without argument. The sufferings of the Pandavas were never due to their past deeds. Sometimes people comment like this, that Draupadi went through suffering because it is mentioned in Padma Puran that she failed to observe the Purushottam Vrat. This is nonsense. One should not speak like this. Draupadi Devi is not some ordinary conditioned living entity. Those stories are there to teach us a different Siddhanta, that observe Purushottam Vrat. But we should not think that, oh, she did not observe, therefore she suffered. She had to be disrobed, she had to live in the forest. Then she is a conditioned soul. She is not a conditioned soul. Mahabharata explains, Srila Vyasadeva writes that Draupadi Devi is an incarnation of Lakshmi Devi. She is a Amsha avatar of Lakshmi Devi. She is the goddess of fortune. It is clearly mentioned in Srila Vyasadeva Mahabharata. How can the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, be like that? She is an expansion of Lakshmi Devi. So definitely there is no prarabdha for her. There is no karma for her. So we should take the Siddhanta, understand what is the Siddhanta, what the message is, but not consider great souls to be conditioned souls. Srila Prabhupada is clearly saying here, the sufferings of the Pandavas were never due to their past deeds. Very clear it is. Pandavas includes their wife Draupadi Devi. They are interconnected. The sufferings of the Pandavas were never due to their past deeds. People also say that, oh, Draupadi Devi laughed. Oh, they suffered because Yudhishthir played the dice game. This is all Krishna's Leela. Yes, we can learn that one should not gamble. But we should not say that, oh, they suffered because they gambled, or Draupadi Devi suffered because she laughed at Duryodhan. Krishna laughed at Duryodhan. Mahabharata mentions Krishna laughed when Duryodhan fell in the water in Indraprastha. So here it is very clear. The sufferings of the Pandavas were never due to their past deeds. Lord Krishna, please listen carefully. Lord Krishna had to execute the plan of establishing the kingdom of virtue, and therefore his own devotees suffered temporarily in order to establish the conquest of virtue. Please try to understand this sentence, my dear friend. Srila Prabhupada is saying that Krishna wants to show the Siddhanta that virtue conquers over vice. To prove this point, Krishna made his pure devotees, the Pandavas, go through suffering so that eventually they will vanquish vice, represented by Duryodhana and his team, and come out victorious, so that the world will understand that Satyameva Jayate. That Name Bhakta Pranashyati. Dharma always prevails. To teach this Siddhanta, he did that. Struggle. Srila Prabhupada writes, struggle for existence, the human race. Our only hope, his divine grace. Yes. The Lord had to execute the plan of establishing the kingdom of virtue, and therefore Krishna's own devotees suffered temporarily in order to establish the conquest of virtue. So people understand that truth will prevail, dharma will win. Even a great fighter like Bhishma Dev could not win the battle of Kurukshetra because Lord Krishna wanted to show that vice cannot conquer virtue regardless of who tries to execute it. Shri Bhishma Dev was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, but he chose to fight against the Pandavas by the will of the Lord, because Lord Krishna wanted to show that a fighter like Bhishma Dev cannot win on the wrong side. Any doubts? So clear Srila Prabhupada's purport is. Why Bhishma Dev fought on the side of the Duryodhana against the Pandavas? Why they went through so much suffering? It is all Krishna's Leela to teach us, to instruct us. Therefore, we must read our scriptures carefully. These are not just some entertaining stories, but there is deep Siddhanta. There is deep Tattva Siddhanta in Leela. You see, there are two things. There are classes which describe Leela, and there are classes which speak about the Siddhanta. Correct? Tattva Siddhanta. But we have to understand that in Leela there is Tattva. So many philosophical truths, Tattva Siddhanta, we learn from Leela. Krishna is showing us. Bhishma Dev was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, but he chose to fight against the Pandavas. Why? People say that अरे वो दुर्योधन की रोटी खाई थी ना, इसलिए दुर्योधन का नमक खाया था, इसीलिए Bhishma Dev fought. This is not true. We should not speak such things. Srila Prabhupada is writing here. Bhishma Dev was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. He chose to fight against the Pandavas by the will of Lord Krishna. Krishna wanted to put him in that role. Krishna is like the expert director, and this pure devotees like Arjuna, Bhishma Dev, they are like actors. And Krishna gives roles, you play that role. Even Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, they are actors. Ravan, Kumbhakarna, actors. Dantavakar, Shishupal, actors. Jagai Madai, actors. Yes, the role has been given and they play it perfectly. He chose to fight against Pandava by the will of the Lord, because Lord Krishna wanted to show that even a fighter like Bhishma Dev cannot win on the wrong side. Text 17. Tasmadidam daiva tantram vyavasya bharatarshabha tasyanu vihito natha natha pahi praja prabho. O best among the descendants of Bharat Maharaj, that is Yudhishthir Maharaj. O Yudhishthir Maharaj, I maintain therefore that all this is within the plan of the Lord. Whatever happened, it was Krishna Ichha. Accepting the inconceivable plan of Lord Krishna, you must follow it. You are now the appointed administrative head, and therefore, my Lord, you should now take care of those subjects who are now rendered helpless. Hare Krishna. You see, Yudhishthira Maharaj was not wanting to become the king because he was filled with guilt. How can I administer, rule over these people that I have made widows and orphans and fatherless children? How can I rule over them? I am such a sinful person. I was the cause of millions of deaths. He didn't feel qualified to become the king. And Bhishma Dev is saying, you are now the appointed king, my lord. Bhishma Dev is calling him my lord, addressing him as the king. Oh Nath, oh master, you are the king now. And you should now take care of the subjects who are helpless. So many subjects, so many citizens are there. They need to be taken care of. They need an able, stable king. Please, you are appointed. You take the role. Purport. Srila Prabhupada says the popular saying is that a housewife teaches the daughter-in-law by teaching the daughter. The Bengali proverb, Srila Prabhupada often quoted it, that when the mother-in-law wants to instruct the newly married daughter-in-law who has just come into the family, the daughter-in-law has come into a new house, new family. She's nervous. She's self-conscious. She wants to establish herself in that family dynamics. And she is naturally very sensitive. If she's chastised, then her self-confidence will be affected adversely. So a sensitive mother-in-law will chastise her own daughter because daughter is not going to mind it. Daughter and the mother-in-law, means the mother, they have a very nice relationship since birth. She's the mother, right? So the daughter is not going to mind it if the mom chastises her. But hearing that chastisement, the daughter-in-law will understand what she's supposed to do, what she's not supposed to do, and she will learn. At the same time, she will not feel singled out, or she will not feel that she's been put on the spot. So this is called sensitivity in Vedic culture. This is how it was. Similarly, the Lord teaches the world. The world is like daughter-in-law. The world is like the daughter-in-law. Krishna teaches the world by teaching the devotee. Krishna will teach the devotee. So who is the devotee here? Who is the daughter here? Bhishma Dev. Yes. So Bhishma Dev has not done anything wrong. The daughter has not done anything wrong. She's perfect. But still, some reason, some pretext, chastisement is given so that that point the daughter-in-law will learn. So Krishna chastises his devotees like Bhishma Dev to teach us lessons that we can learn. Now please listen, this is very beautiful. Whenever therefore a show is made to teach the devotee, as in the case of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna became bewildered. Actually, Arjuna is not bewildered. Arjuna is not confused. Karpanye dosho pahata subhav. No, that can never happen to Arjuna. He's a pure devotee. But Arjuna went through the motions of a confused, bewildered soul to teach us. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, whenever therefore a show is made to teach the devotee, like Arjuna is a devotee and Krishna is teaching him Bhagavad Gita. As in the case of teaching the Bhagavad Gita, it is for teaching the less intelligent man. It is for teaching all of us. Arjuna doesn't need to hear Bhagavad Gita. He knows. He has already realized Bhagwan, Krishna. So knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is there with Arjuna always. But he becomes confused. He becomes bewildered so that Bhagavad Gita is spoken to him for our benefit. We need to hear Bhagavad Gita. A devotee's duty, therefore, is to ungrudgingly accept tribulations from the Lord as a benediction. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. This is hard. This is a hard pill to swallow, but we have to swallow it. I repeat, a devotee's duty, therefore, is to ungrudgingly accept tribulations from the Lord as a benediction. Tattenu kampam susamikshamano bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam mridvak vapurvir mudadan namaste jivetayo mukti pade sadaya. There is no way around tolerating. There is no way around matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukhada agama payino nityam tam satikshasva bharat. There is no way around this. We have to tolerate. A devotee's duty, therefore, is to ungrudgingly accept tribulations from the Lord as a benediction. Not that, okay, I'll tolerate, as a benediction. That these are opportunities, these trials and tribulations, these sufferings are opportunities to take greater shelter of Krishna. Hare ko Harinam. Who can chant Harinam with feeling? One who is defeated. If we feel we can make it, we are victorious. Yeah, I can chant 1 lakh and then I can control these anarthas. Oh, then you are by yourself. You think you can do it. No. Kaho kebal bhajan ko, काहो के आचार व्यास भरोसे कुंवरी को सोवत पाव पसार. We cannot do it on our strength, but we have confidence. Utsahat nishchayat dhairyat. On what basis? On the word of Shri Guru. On the word of Shri Guru. That is where the confidence comes from. Guru Maharaj has given this method of bhajan. And if I follow it, I have confidence that by Guru Pratap, by the power of Guru, aham tarishyami. By the mercy of Guru and Krishna, I will cross over the ocean of material existence. Samashritaye, samashrita, ashraya, charanagati. Samyak rupena ashraya, complete ashraya. Samashritaye padapallavaplavam mahat padam punya yasho murare. Bhavambudirvatsa padam param padam 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 yadvipadam natesham. Therefore, for a devotee, it is padam padam na vipadam. For everybody else, it is padam padam vipadam. But for a samashritaye padapallavaplavam, one who has accepted the boat of the lotus feet of Lord Murari, Krishna, Guru Maharaj as the captain of the boat, for them it is padam padam na vipadam. There cannot be any vipatti in true sense, because whatever material vipatti comes, the devotee is going to surpass it by the blessings of Guru and Krishna. A devotee's duty, therefore, is to ungrudgingly accept tribulations from the Lord as a benediction, because there are opportunities to take shelter. A pure devotee of the Lord accepts, last sentence, a pure devotee of the Lord accepts tribulations as favors from the Lord. Again, in case somebody missed it in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is again drilling in this Siddhanta. A pure devotee of the Lord, and we all want to become pure devotees, isn't it? We are not here to become impure devotees. Is there anybody here who does not want to become a pure devotee someday? Nobody. We are all here on the path of pure bhakti, pure devotional service. Srila Prabhupada is teaching pure devotional service. That's very beginning of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu book, Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion. Pure devotional service. Yes, it is rare, but so is a devotee. Manushyanam sahasreshu kashidati siddha. Even a devotee is rare. So we are here on the path of pure devotional service. A pure devotee of the Lord accepts tribulations as favors from the Lord. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference between the favor of a Lord and the tribulations that a devotee gets from the Lord. There is no difference between the two, because Krishna is absolute. When Krishna gives mercy, he gives us what we want. When Krishna gives supreme mercy, he takes away everything so that all we have is Krishna. Yasyaham anugranami harishye tadhanam shanay tadhanam tayantasya swajana dukkha dukkhada. Hare Krishna. Granthra Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much, dear devotees. We can take some questions. Yes, Shama Kishori Mataji, then Sham Chandra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for a wonderful class, and my apologies, I can't be on video. Prabhuji, I have two questions. The first is that Bhishma Dev is so learned. Lord Krishna is making him an instrument in educating Lord Yudhishthira at this time. So why did he choose not to protect Draupadi when she was being disrobed?
There are external reasons and there is internal reason. The external reason is mentioned in Mahabharata, and the internal reason I have heard from our Guru Varga. The external reason is that Bhishma Dev did not intervene when Draupadi was being stripped in the Kuru Sabha, because Bhishma Dev said, I am just a minister. But the person who is presiding over this Sabha is Maharaj Dhritarashtra. He is the king of the Sabha. He is the supreme authority. It is up to him to allow this injustice or to stop it. But if Dhritarashtra Maharaj is not saying anything, if he's allowing this disrobing to go on, politically, legally, I don't have a right to overrule the king. Because he's the king, I'm just his minister. So he kept quiet. External reason. But the internal reason is, my dear friends, this is very sweet. This is very sweet. When Draupadi Devi was begging Bhishma Dev, help me, Bhishma Dev. You are the one who has the samarthya, who has the power to stop single-handedly. If you stand, Duryodhan, Dushasan, 98 remaining brothers, Karna, Shakuni cannot do anything. You alone single-handedly can silence them all. You have the power. I am begging you, Bhishma Dev, please protect my chastity today. Bhishma Dev looked down. Hot tears of pain were flowing from his eyes. He kept silent. But our acharyas explain, under his breath, Shri Bhishma Dev, the Mahajan, uttered, Beti, my dear daughter, today Krishna himself will come to save you. Bhishma Dev wanted to increase the glory of Draupadi Devi, and therefore he kept quiet. He sat down, did not do anything, because he knew that Draupadi's devotion is so great that today Krishna is going to come. That faith, Bhishma Dev, he said, I want Krishna to come, Draupadi. I can save you, but better than that is let Keshav come and save. This was the mood of Bhishma Dev, but this nobody knows. But yes, that's why Bhishma Dev kept quiet. Is that okay, Mataji? Hare Krishna. I think you are muted, Mataji.
Prabhuji, thank you. But in that case, if that's the internal reason, then why did he have to suffer so much, lying on the bed of arrows for not protecting her? Krishna knew his heart, right?
External reason is because he failed to protect Draupadi. Correct? The internal reason,
Yes.
the internal reason why he suffered is to show us the greatness of a devotee. That a devotee like Bhishma Dev, even though suffering so much, does not question. So that when we have to go through our little sufferings, we don't complain. Because we have the example of Mahajan. Mahajanoyana Gatha Sapanta. Bhishma Dev suffered for us to create an example for us. That our suffering can never be as great as Bhishma Dev. That without food and water, we are lying on a bed of arrows for months, suffering excruciating pain with no morphine, no painkillers, no Boveron, Combiflam. So Bhishma Dev suffered internally. The reason is to give guidance, direction, hope, and strength to all the sadhakas like us. When we go through our little trial and tribulations, we look at Bhishma Dev and we gain inspiration that night. My suffering is nothing compared to Bhishma Dev. He is my Mahajan. I must tolerate. And I must live a life of integrity, even while suffering. I must maintain my empathy for the suffering of others, even when I am suffering. So like that. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Can I ask a second question, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
So you mentioned that Draupadi Devi is an amsha of Lakshmi Devi, but
Vyasadeva writes that in
Krishna's
Mahabharata.
relation. Yes, but Krishna's relationship with her was like that of a sister, and otherwise, Lakshmi is his wife. So, I mean, is that like a rasabhas or something? Or?
No, not Rasabhas. Now, Lalita Sakhi, Vishakha Sakhi, they are also amsha of Srimati Radharani. They are the kaya view of Radharani, our acharyas explain. But they are also married to other Gopals. So that is not inappropriate or wrong, because the relationship that is there in this spiritual realm, like the relationship of Arjuna and Draupadi, it is not a relationship based on sense gratification. And Arjuna himself, he is Nara. There is Nara Narayan, the two transcendental twins. They are both worshipped as personality of Godhead. Narayan is Bhagwan, Krishna himself. And Nara is Arjuna. So Arjuna also is Bhagavad Koti. He is qualitatively same as Bhagwan. He is such an intimate friend of Krishna. Heart to heart, they are one, always together. Whenever Krishna comes, Arjuna also comes. So, and their relationship is not a relationship based on sense gratification. So all these things, we With our conditioned state, we see them as ethical, non-ethical, but licit, illicit. But in the spiritual realm, these things don't matter. Like Vyasadeva coming and impregnating Ambika and Ambalika. Does that diminish the stature of Vyasadeva? That with his own brothers' wives? No. Because he was not doing it for sense gratification. He was doing it because his mother Satyavati requested him to as a service. Same thing Bhishma Dev was requested, but he refused for a higher purpose because he had taken a vow of brahmacharya. Whereas Vyasadeva has not taken a vow of brahmacharya, he is a grahastha. So these things don't, Parashar Muni and Satyavati uniting on an island when they are not even married. But who came out of that union? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas. He is Sakshat Krishna. Other Vyas who come in different kalpas or manvantaras, they may be amshas or they may be Shaktyavesh avatars. But our Vyasadeva who wrote Mahabharata and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Shri Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas, the son of Satyavati Devi and Parashar Muni, he is Swayam Bhagwan. So how do you define the union of Satyavati and Parashar Muni? And then Satyavati again getting married to Shantanu after she had already born a child. Like, what is going on here? But no. In these Bhagavatic relationships, in these relationships in the Leelas, these mundane conceptions of licit, illicit, virginity, non-virginity, these things don't matter. Surya Dev having Karna through Kunti Devi when she was a Kumari. So how is that? So yeah, these things, these rules that apply to the human society, they don't apply in the transcendental realm, the relationship of Arjuna and Draupadi Devi. So to do that service, Lakshmi Devi is so enthusiastic to serve Krishna that when a role like Draupadi is to be played, she expands herself into Draupadi Devi to play that role of Krishna's sister, of Krishna's Sakhi, and the consort of Arjuna, who is completely one with Krishna in terms of his consciousness and his service attitude. Just like Radharani expands herself into Rupa Manjari. Today's Rupa Manjari is Tirabhav Tithi. Today's Rupa Goswami's Tirabhav Tithi. Rupa Manjari is also married. Bhakti Vinod Thakur is also married as Kamala Manjari. The Manjaris are married. The Ashtasakis are all married. How Lalita Sakhi, who is Radharani's Kaya, will get married to somebody else? No, these are, in the spiritual world, it doesn't matter. Krishna himself expands into so many of these Gopas, etc. And anyway, their relationships are not based on mundane lust and physical attraction of the beauty. Those concepts are not there in the spiritual realm. So that's how we should understand it. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, thank you very much, Prabhuji, for clarifying. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Shamchandra Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for your very intense class today. And so, Prabhu, as part of Bhishma Dev's teaching here, we understand that when a pure devotee suffers some reversals in life, that is to be taken as Krishna's mercy. And one should not, question or, we have to just accept it and as a favor of the Lord and be blissful even in that situation. But when it comes to conditioned souls like us, and when there is, let's say, less reversals, some people have less reversals than compared to some other people. So at that time, we are told that you are having less reversals because of the mercy of the Lord, because Lord is being a favor by not giving you reversals. So it's totally different, dynamics. Like for conditioned souls, when there is a reversal, that means we say it's because of the past sins, and there's less reversals means it's the mercy of the Lord. Whereas when for a pure devotee, when there's a reversal, it is basically as a acceptance as a mercy of the Lord. I mean, so when we have less reversals, does it mean really that it's Lord's mercy, or is it the person is unfortunate that he's not getting reversals.
Even for a Hare Krishna, even for a conditioned soul, the reversals that come, they are Krishna's mercy. But a conditioned soul may not know how to tap into that mercy. For example, a reversal may come in the life of a conditioned soul, and the conditioned soul will work hard to reverse the reversal, to overcome the problem. Like they may lose a job, and they will, quickly do some course and practical things and try to get a job and stabilize themselves. And that is good. That should be done. But they miss the opportunity to take shelter of Krishna at that time. They can do all that while taking shelter, more shelter of Krishna, feeling like, Krishna, I am helpless. I lost everything, Krishna. Please, if you so desire, please help me. This is your mandir. My house is your mandir. To maintain it, I need to work and get some Lakshmi. If you so desire, please help me. I'm going to try. So that's an opportunity to take greater shelter of Krishna. Therefore, that reversal, even in the life of a conditioned soul, is a mercy. But the question is whether the conditioned soul can tap into that mercy. Like we get, in America at least, we get so many letters in the mail. Most of them, 90% of them are advertisements. So sometimes we don't even just open it. We just shred it and throw it away. Now, if someone has sent some cash and we just throw it away without seeing, then the mercy was there, the money was there, but we didn't tap into it. We couldn't access it. Similarly, even a conditioned soul, when the calamities, reversals come, crises come, they are opportunities to take shelter of Krishna. They are mercy only. But conditioned soul may not be able to tap into it. Now, when crisis doesn't come, reversals don't come, calamities don't come in the life, and life is more or less comfortable, that can be also taken as mercy in the sense that now let me intensify my bhajan. I am not actively suffering. I have got my hands and legs are working. All my faculties are working. So let me take shelter. And that is represented by Maharaj Kulashekar. Krishna tvadiya pada pankaja panjarantam advaiva me vishatu manasa raja hamsa prana prayana kafavata pitto kantavarodhana vidhau smaranam kutaste. He says, at the time of death, my throat will be choked up with kafavat pitta, and I will not be able to smaranam kutaste. I will not be able to remember you at the time of death. Therefore, now that my faculties are working, now that there is no crisis, no reversal, no calamity, all my senses, my body is working fine, everything is going fine with me, let me take shelter of you right now, right here. Krishna tvadiya padapankacha panjarantam. Let my mind get entangled in the lotus of your, like a swan. Manasa Raja Hamsa. Let my mind get entangled in you, Krishna. Let me completely get absorbed in you. Man mana. Let me think of you. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. Let me remember you right now, right here. Let me surrender to you right now, right here. Because now everything is going good. So that is also an opportunity to take. So when calamities are not coming, that can be used to do more chanting, more bhajan, more swadhyay, more high-class association. We want to visit the holy places, Leela Sthalis, absorb our consciousness. It can be a time to prepare for the crises that are going to come. Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj used to say, the more you sweat in peace, the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. When there is no war, if you strengthen the army, you have all these military drills and you produce more arms, ammunition, you train your soldiers. When the war will happen, and the war will happen in the future, you are well prepared. The more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. So if there are no calamities, prepare your consciousness. Prepare your, chant more, read more, associate more, serve more, because everything is going okay. When crisis comes, you may not be able to do all those limbs of bhakti, but at least you can remember Krishna. Ante Narayana Smriti. We may not be able to go to the temple, do Mangal Arati, sit in one asana and chant because we are in ICU. But at least we can remember Krishna. We can take shelter of Krishna. So like that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Dasosmi. So Amrit Karana Prabhu. And then last
Hare
question,
Krishna,
Shama
Prabhu.
Vallabi Mataji. Hare.
Dhanyavad, Prabhu. It's a wonderful session. actually, some are telling like that by the mercy of Krishna, he blessed especially to Bhishmadev, and he did not get such a pain. Like now, I was also confused. So somebody also told that Mother Ganges came and she blessed him partially, that not to he not getting pain, like all the arrows enter in his body, his lungs, heart, everything pierce. But still, how it is, how get it.
Our acharyas explain, and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam explains that Bhishmadev did feel pain. He felt pain, and as a devotee, he is very tolerant. Diksha, he is tolerating it. But when Krishna came with Krishna's glance, the verse will come later on. Krishna with his glance, he took away all the pain. Krishna is the supreme Vaidya, supreme doctor. When Bhishma Dev is going to speak to Maharaj Yudhishthira about the different dharma, then Krishna looks at Bhishma Dev and heals him completely, so that for many days Bhishma Dev can do his pravachan to Yudhishthira Maharaj. That will come. But right now he's suffering. Bhishma Dev is tolerating it. Hare Krishna. Later on, with his eyes, Krishna will cure him, take away all his pain. It will come in the future.
I have one more question. Just you mentioned that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also suffer. How he could suffer?
So when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada was in Jagannath Puri, he had chest pain. He had chest pain, his blood pressure dropped, and he became very weak physically. So these are all symptoms of a heart attack. These were all symptoms. He was having repeated chest pain, loss of appetite. He was feeling faint. So these are all classic symptoms of heart attack. So I feel it was a heart attack.
Then
he was brought to Calcutta, to the Bagbazar Gaudiya Math. And then within a few days, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur entered Nitya Leela. But he was complaining of chest pain. Of course, it is all Leela.
Leela is Leela, of course. It's completely transcendental.
But the acharyas go through this to teach us. Srila Prabhupada had heart attack, stroke, both.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank
Hare
you
Krishna.
so much.
Last question, Shama Vallavi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. My question is similar to the previous question. Externally, we see that the Pandavas are suffering. Whether they actually suffer because they have taken full shelter of Krishna. I heard in one lecture that if we are going in rain and if we have an umbrella, then we are safe. So that in that way, if they have taken full shelter of Krishna, externally we feel that they are suffering. But do they actually suffer, pure devotees?
Yes. They actually
But
suffer.
how Kunti Narani is then praying that I want suffering again and again?
Because she loves Krishna. She knows that in suffering she will get Krishna. So she says, if that's what I have to go through to get you, I'm willing. But it is a fact that all these acharyas, all these great pure devotees, they are actually suffering. They're actually feeling pain. They're actually going through all the trials and tribulations, just like us. Because if they are not, then where is the karonyata? Where is the heart melting? Lord Ramchandra actually cried for 4 months, chanting Sita, 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 Sita in that cave in Kishkinda Kshetra. When will this rain end? When will I start the search for my Sita? Crying, he's chanting japa of Sita Nam. Actually suffering. This was not natak. This was not drama. Actually suffering. Prabhupada actually had chest pain. Prabhupada actually could not move when he had the stroke. Brahmananda Prabhu describes, Prabhupada could not function. They were panicking. It was Memorial Day weekend and they desperately tried, and somehow they got a doctor to come and see him. Finally, they had to take him to the hospital. They actually suffered. Srila Saraswati Thakur was actually having chest pain. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was actually having rheumatism. He couldn't walk. So our acharyas, they actually feel pain. They actually go through the motions. Yes. It is not just that they are going in the rain with umbrella. That umbrella is the umbrella of Krishna's protection. That even though they are suffering, Krishna is there. They will never forget Krishna. Prabhupada said, through all my sufferings, there was not one moment when I forgot the lotus feet of Radha Govinda. So I always remembered Krishna. That is the umbrella of protection. That they will never forget Krishna. They suffer. Actually suffer. For us. For us. So that we have hope. So that we can walk the path that they have walked. If no acharya is going to suffer, and we conditioned souls suffer, then we'll say, hey, why? How can I? What is the hope for me? Who do I look up to? The acharyas don't feel any pain. They are just doing some natak, just acting. No, it's not acting. They actually suffer. They actually suffer for us, to teach us.
So anyway,
Teacher-
pains are going to come.
If a teacher wants to teach how to write ABC, the teacher takes the chalk, takes the blackboard, and she actually writes on the slate A, B, C. Yeah, she doesn't have to write. She's just doing it to teach us, but she is actually doing it. She's actually writing ABC. So the acharyas don't have to suffer, but they actually suffer heart attack, stroke, rheumatism, so many things, blindness from cataract. They actually go through all that to teach us. You were saying something, Mataji?
So very afraid, Prabhuji, this class anyway we are going to suffer. Whether we are devotees or non-devotees, suffering is there. So we have to
Yes.
remember Krishna.
Yes, but Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that the devotees, they, in these sufferings, they remember Krishna more, they become more Krishna conscious, they take more shelter of Krishna, and therefore their destination is different. Their destination is different.
Hare Krishna.
They go to Krishna. It's like two passengers going to the airport. One passenger is late, he's going to miss the flight. That is the karmi, atheist. But devotee is going to go to the airport and catch the flight and go to the destination. We are going to make it. We are going to make it by the mercy of Krishna. So yes, we are going through the same, both the passengers are going through same traffic. One is going to miss the flight. One is going to catch the flight and go to the destination safe and sound and be home. That's the devotees. So yes, we have to go through the traffic. Both. That's the way to the airport. That's the way to Krishna. So we should be
Hare
happy.
Krishna.
We should be happy. We have Krishna. And Krishna reduces the sufferings of the devotees. Krishna reduces the sufferings of the devotees. Like a loving father, they reduce the punishment. Okay. So
Thank
yes,
you,
the class
Prabhuji.
was heavy. The class was heavy for me also. I was speaking to myself also. And
Prabhuji, there is one more doubt, Prabhuji, not regarding the class, but can I ask Prabhuji? Yeah, chanting, if we are doing extra rounds, more than 16 rounds, can we hear the lecture also and then chant also?
yes, I do that. Our Sankhya, what we have promised our Gurudev, we should fix a Sankhya, either whatever, 18 rounds, 20 rounds, that we should sit and do nicely. And then extra rounds, we can, actually we are supposed to chant all the time. So the lecture is going on and we are chanting also.
Okay.
But those rounds we don't count, but we chant.
Hmm.
We should keep chanting. It's totally fine. But when we are in a live class, that may not be a good idea because the speaker may find that odd. Why are you having your hand in the bead bag in the class? So better to do one limb properly. But if the bhav, the mood is that I want to chant more, I don't want to forget. For me, if I don't have my hand in the bead bag, my chanting stops. So it's very helpful to just have the hand, hold the tulsi beads. Automatically the japa starts. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. So yes, so we can be hearing class at home and we can chant, no problem. But when we go in the temple, that may set a wrong standard. Imagine in a class in an ISKCON temple, all the devotees are sitting with bead bags in the class. It's not very encouraging for the speaker, and it's not the proper Vaishnava culture also. So in the temple, I would say just chant in your mind, chant silently, softly. Don't stop chanting. Keep chanting, but in your mind, not with the bead bag. But at home, you can do that. No problem. And the mood is that we are not being disrespectful to the speaker or anything, but we just want to practice that we want to chant constantly. It is said that we should chant all the time, and to chant loudly all the time is not possible. The vocal cords will get tired. So you have to chant softly. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. That's Upamshu. We should practice chanting it all the time. It is said that if we chant for 2 years continuously, Nirantar Naam, Kirtane Sadahari, if we do that, then the name starts coming from the heart. Then even without any effort, we wake up in the morning and chanting is going on. The name, the Mahamantra becomes internalized in our body. So that abhyas we have to do. And with that motivation, with that intention, you can try to chant at all times. No problem. But extra rounds. We have to chant all the time. Kirtaniya Sadahari. Sadatam Kirtayanto Mam. Vedantascha Dridhavrata. Keep chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Param Vijayate. Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So there's one last question. Shanta Radhika Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, ये ना पर्सनली क्वेश्चन है, लाइक आज का ये लेक्चर सुन रहे थे तो वन ऑफ माय फ्रेंड, उसका एक ही बेटा है एंड ही इज 30-year-old एंड ही इज सफरिंग फ्रॉम कैंसर. So like doctor said कि personal, on my personal basis I inquired, so not more than 2 years or 3 years, and but they are very hopeful कि वो ठीक हो जाएगा, and they are doing like that only कि ये तो 5-6 कीमो हो गई है and he'll be all right. So in case, what should I do? Like, should I tell them or not? Because they are living very happily. पहले तो बहुत distress में थी कि भी क्या हो गया, एक ही बेटा, and he is not married also, and अब they are very hopeful कि हाँ भाई, क्योंकि उसको पैनक्रियाज और लीवर के अंदर है and वो बोन्स में भी फैल चुका है, लास्ट स्टेज है.
Metastatic cancer, stage 4 cancer is currently incurable. It can be treated, but it is incurable.
Yeah.
It can be treated and life can be prolonged, but it is incurable. I like the policy of being honest so that the parents can have their expectations right and they can know what to expect in the future and be prepared. But it depends on your relationship with them. So maybe we can discuss this offline. But
Okay.
honesty and straightforwardness is generally the way to go, especially in this situation where the boy is young and parents only child. If I was in the situation of that boy, I would want to know my prognosis honestly, so I could plan my life.
वो तो डॉक्टर्स तो in India, doctors they are saying कि you are improving and PET scanning में it is 60% cure and 80% cure, like they are saying in India. But
I don't know the specifics of this particular case, but yeah, generally.
But I asked one of the surgeon in Bombay, and he said, no, it is not like that.
Yeah, if once it is metastatic cancer, it is stage 4 cancer, it has gone to the liver, lungs, and bones, it is not curable in any country of the world, in any hospital of the world. You can take to MD Anderson, Memorial Sloan Kettering, anywhere you take them, it is not curable. There is no cure for metastatic cancer right now. It can be treated. The cancer can be controlled for some time, but eventually it's going to grow and take the life of the patient. So honest discussion is best, I feel. But again, I'm not the oncologist for this patient. I'm not oncologist and I'm not the physician taking care of this patient. So I don't know the details of the case. better you can advise them as you feel best, and ask them to take a proper second opinion about the prognosis.
Oh, indirectly, so I told them to say like कि ये टेस्ट करा लो जो मुझे लिखे थे, and पर they are satisfied कि नहीं हमने अभी PET scan कराया and इसमें 60% क्योर हो रहा है, तो he is improving and they are happy. Now अगर मैं बोलती हूँ तो वो तो their life is gone almost.
Best is to just pray for them, and when you get an opportunity, have a honest discussion with them. But just pray, chant extra rounds. Okay.
Okay.
Ajay Govind Prabhu wants to say something.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, just wanted to say that we'll have class tomorrow instead of Thursday, right?
Yes. So Parso is Balram Jayanti, so we will not have class on Thursday like we normally do, but just for this week we'll have it tomorrow. Thank you for the reminder, Ajay Govind Prabhu. So see you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji.